All right, we're going to look at some of this vocabulary to go with these Unit 9 words, just kind of a little more detailed than what those definitions were that you put in your e-binder. So, area is base times height, or length times width. That is the space that something covers. The base of a cone is always going to be a circle. This will come in when we start talking about volume. The base of a cone is always a circle. Okay? The bases of a rectangular prism and triangular prism. Okay, prisms are named by their bases. So if you have a rectangular prism, the bases are rectangles. If you have a triangular prism, like is shown right here, these triangles are the bases. Even though it's sitting on this rectangle down here, the triangles are still the bases. So that's very important that you realize, because some of our formulas deal with the area of the base. And on this, even though it's sitting on this rectangle, these triangles would still be the bases. Okay, just a review of what a face and an edge are. Faces are the big flat pieces. An edge is where two faces meet. It's like the big long corner there, and then a vertex is the point where three faces meet and come together to form a single point. Okay, then we get to the kind of meat and potatoes of it. Surface area and volume are about to be what we're talking about for the next few weeks. Surface area has two types. There's lateral surface area and there's total surface area. So the lateral surface area is like the label on a soup can. Okay, it's just around the outside. Doesn't include the tops and the bottoms. Like if you were going to paint a room, like if I was going to paint my classroom and needed to know how much paint I needed, I would want the lateral surface area, just the outsides, because I'm not going to paint the ceiling and I'm not going to paint the floor. I'm only going to paint the walls on the outside. So that's the lateral surface area. And then you've got the total surface area. Total surface area is like wrapping a present. It's the whole shebang, the whole deal, every bit of it, top, bottom, the sides, and all. That is the total surface area. So if you look on a formula chart, okay, surface area right here, there are two surface areas. You've got lateral and total. The formulas are a little bit different. Okay, the lateral is always part of the total surface area. Okay, and then you've also got prisms and cylinders. So you've got two different shapes and two different types of surface area here. But notice, like I said, the lateral is always a part of the total. So this pH here, this 2 pi RH, the only difference is that you add two bases on these. That's why there's two of each of these. This is area of the base, and this is pi r squared is a circle. So you're adding two of those because cylinders and prisms have two bases. So now let's look at these formulas in a little bit more detail. There's a lot of letters there that you've probably never seen in a formula before. We're going to talk about what those mean. So for the surface area of a prism, that would be the S equals pH for the lateral surface area. That's what LSA stands for, is lateral surface area, where P stands for the perimeter of the base. Okay, this big P right here is going to stand for the perimeter of the base. Next is the total surface area, pH plus 2B. That's the total surface area, TSA, total surface area. This big B, capital B, is the area of the base. So the area of the base, that means you're going to have to pull in a separate formula to find the area of whatever base you're looking at. That's why you may have noticed I had this big old B on this formula chart, because it's in the area section right here. Anytime you see a big B down here, you've got to go up here and find out what shape you had. Excuse me, and use that appropriate area formula there. So those are your two formulas for surface area of prisms. Okay. And then you've got your two formulas for surface areas of cones. I'm sorry, not cones, cylinders. Two formulas for surface areas of cylinders there. One's 2 pi RH, one's 2 pi RH plus 2 pi r squared. R is the radius of a circle. H is the height of the cylinder, or the height of the prism. It doesn't have to be the cylinder. H is in the other formula too. But H is how far apart your bases are. Okay, this comes in a lot on triangular prisms, you'll see in a minute. Usually when we see a triangular prism, it's sitting like this one was. It's sitting on the rectangle here, but your height would be this part right here. It would be, if it's sitting on the triangle, how high is it? Or how far apart are your bases? That's always going to be your height. So just a little piece on that. Now we're going to look at a couple of examples of how these formulas work. So you could be taking these notes in a blank page of your journal. Would be a great place for them. So example 1 is going to be a rectangular prism. Okay, the key to drawing these is to get everything at the same angle, and then make sure these are nice and straight across here. And then make sure these line up nice and straight right there. Makes your box look a little bit better on the back there. Okay, call it 4 inches, 5 inches, and 3 inches. So if we're going to find the total surface area, the formula is pH plus 2 big B. P stands for the perimeter of the base. So if this is our base down here, this bottom is the base. With rectangular prisms, it is whatever it's sitting on. You can call that the base. That's going to be our base. This side would be 5. This side would be 4. Remember, you find perimeter adding up all the sides. So 5 and 5 is 10. 4 and 4 is 8. 8 and 10 is 18. The height, how far apart our bases are, be 3 plus 2 times the area of the base. Well, if we're finding the area of this rectangle, you do length times width, so that would be 4 times 5. 18 times 3 is 54, plus 2 times, or 5 times 4 is 20, times 2 is 40. So the total surface area would be 94, not 96, 94 inches squared. And it's squared because anything that is area is going to be squared. Any area is always squared. It's 94 inches. Okay. Now, if we're going to find the lateral surface area, it's very simple. It's just pH. Well, we've already done that. 18 times 3 is 54 for the lateral surface area. Now, if you don't like these, this way of doing it, if you don't like these formulas, I'm going to do it with these formulas. If you don't like these formulas, there is another way that you can do it that does work just fine. I'll show you what it would look like real quick. It's the FBTBSS method. Okay, you would just break it down by shape. A rectangular prism has 6 rectangles. So you've got each of your rectangles, you've got the front, the back, the top, the bottom, the side, and the side of these rectangles. Find the area of each side here and then add those up. And notice you do get 94 inches down here, which is the total that we had there. Okay, it also works for finding the lateral. You would just not have the top or the bottom. So you would take out that 40 and that comes out to 54 also. But if you don't like these formulas, the more you use them, the better you get at them. But so like that's what I'm going to be using because that's what's going to be they ask you about in your STAR test and stuff. But just for practical purposes, finding the total surface area, that's the area of the total area of all the surfaces. So if you find each surface and add them up, that does work and you will get the right answer. So that's that. Let's look at a triangular prism for our second example. Okay, so here's your triangular prism. We're going to find the total surface area of that also. So to find the total surface area here, what you're going to do is you're going to apply the same formula, pH plus 2 big B, the perimeter of the base. Now, people have messed up all day on this. The perimeter of the base is still this triangle, even though it's sitting on this rectangle down here. It's sitting on this rectangle down here. This triangle is your base. Okay, so you got to picture it as if it's laying down on this triangle and this triangle is at the top right there. So those triangles are important that you realize where they are. The perimeter would be 4 plus 3 plus 5, which is 12. Your height is 7 plus 2 times. Now let's break this down real quick. If we're finding the area of the base, area of a triangle is BH over 2. So that would be 3 times 4 divided by 2, which is 6. So we can just fill that 6 in right there. 12 times 7 is 84, plus 2 times 6 is 12. 84 plus 12 is 96. This one is feet squared. Again, it is feet because everything is feet if it's everything is squared if it's area. So if it's area, it's going to be squared. All right. Last thing, if we wanted to find the lateral surface area of this, it would just be this piece right here without all that extra stuff. That is the lateral surface area, so you don't even have to do it twice, really. That's all the notes we're going to take today. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Make sure these are in your journal or written down somewhere that you can get back to them for help on your worksheets next week. All right, guys, y'all have a great weekend, and I will see y'all next week. Bye.